Hey, all right, praise the Lord Jesus who helped me catch these fish yesterday in answer to prayer. And the purpose of this video is to give the fall trolling report for Flat Creek in Lake Lanier. So 2 words: if you appreciate fish of different species that are made out of meat, and if you appreciate trolling, 2 words: Flat Creek. I expect if the trend from previous years holds, trolling will be pretty good in Flat Creek from about now through the month of October, and how far into November it lasts kind of depends on how many cold fronts comes through and how fast the water cools off. But let me emphasize, if you're really a striper aficionado, Flat Creek's not the best place. If you're used to downlines and free lines fishing with blueback herring, most of the stripers have headed under Browns Bridge Road to points north in Lake Lanier. And the reason I like Flat Creek isn't because I'm in love with stripers, but because there's enough room in Flat Creek to troll successfully, and there's a good mix of spots and stripers. I expect most years in the fall in Flat Creek we catch more spotted bass trolling than we do stripers.
Take another look in the good book. Don't let it pass you by. Let the Holy Spirit talk. Walk through the written word of Jesus. Then you'll love Jesus. La 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 la.
Catch enough stripers that it stays fun, it stays interesting. Likewise, if you're a spotted bass aficionado, most of the fall you're going to do better on your favorite points and humps and brush piles, working the top water or the fluke, or the standard spotted bass techniques. What Flat Creek really offers, it's got a lot of bait in it, and the bait in Flat Creek spends enough time out in the open water that we control our spread of lures through the bait balls, and we pick up a lot of catfish too. Whatever predators are eating on the bait and the bait balls is what we catch trolling in Flat Creek. And so you need to be kind of content with everything that's made out of meat. If you can park your boat within casting distance of the points and humps, and cast and retrieve is your favorite technique, then there are better places. If you can park your boat over schools of stripers, if you got the electronics that you can see where the schools of stripers are, get over one, hit your spot lock, let your bluebacks down, there are better places than Flat Creek. But if you're like me, of more humble means, and you like trolling, you just let out 4, 5, 9 lures at a time, and you're happy with whatever bites, fall is a great time to be fishing at Flat Creek. Okay, so let's talk about it. What I'm seeing so far is the bait is still widely distributed from the FC4 channel marker up to the FC8 channel marker, and then from the FC8 channel marker all the way up to the blue boathouse. In other words, the blue boathouse is up there, way up there, and beyond all the channel markers, and it's kind of on the opposite side of this bay where the creek proper comes in. So basically it's all the water in Flat Creek where the creek channel is still deeper than 40 feet deep all the way to the FC4 channel marker. Now what I expect through this weekend is that the bait will remain spread out and the fish will remain spread out. But what happens as fall progresses is oftentimes the bait moves up the creek and all the fish move up the creek, and they're just chasing the bait, right? So, at some point, all the interesting stuff will be from the FC8 channel marker up to the blue boathouse, and then from the FC9 channel marker up to the blue boathouse, and so on. But right now, it's still pretty spread out. But they're there, the stripers are there, the spotted bass are there. Now, there are some days when we will catch literally 10 dink spotted bass and not much else, and my wife will kid me and say, we found the nursery. And that's just, if you're catching fish, you're doing everything right. Most of the bait balls yesterday were from about 5 feet deep down to about 20 feet deep. Now we did see some bait balls holding 30 to 40, but I wasn't going to play chicken with the timber and try and get to those depths, and we ended up catching all of our fish. The deepest one was the little spot. He was caught on a Michigan Stinger spoon, 20 feet down. The smaller striper was caught on a HJ8, Rapala HJ8 in Tennessee shad. The bigger striper was caught on lead core, 150 feet back on a Kepti Max chipmunk jig with a yellow twisty tail. And the two bigger spotted bass, they were caught on, one was caught on a Rapala deep tail dancer, the other one was caught on a Rapala tail dancer. They were trolled about 15 to 20 feet down, but to get them that deep, I use trolling sinkers, so it's not like the lure itself is getting to that full depth, right? So I've got these rigs on my trolling sinker video that put between 9 and 12 ounces this time of year, 60 feet of line out, and then a long leader, and the Rapala behind it is how the spots came. But I expect it to be pretty good. But don't be discouraged if you're catching little fish. If you're catching little fish, you're in a good spot. Your lures are visible. Your lures look like something that the fish want to eat that day. Some days that's just how it's going to be. You know, 10 dink bass is a pretty good day in Flat Creek, and then some days you get to bring home a little meat. Praise the Lord Jesus.
Written in the Word, good, good Word is a message from our God. Gonna tell you all about how to get to the kingdom, the good life. Written in the Word, in the good, good Word is a message from our God. Gonna tell you all about how to get to the kingdom, the good life. Oh, I love Jesus. La 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 la.